Yes, technically it's being hinted twice. No, it's just me working. Where's the
I felt it fall.
I sat here because my friend Liz is in a wheelchair. My friend Liz
Hello, friends. Evening. Thank you all for coming to the inaugural 40 Under 40 Hunter College New York City Food Policy Center reunion. That's a mouthful, right? Our first cohort was honored in 2016, and we've had more than 300 honorees since. Such an esteemed group representing nonprofits, government, entrepreneurs, advocacy, and more, with expertise in agriculture, climate, and food, the triumvirate of our existence. Congratulations to all of you. Many of you have received acknowledgement way beyond our annual 40 Under 40 award, and we truly appreciate all the important and smart work you continue to do in this space. Tonight we're keeping this part of the program short so you have more time to network, which is the purpose here, and as we know, this group hasn't gathered in this way before. So first, I'm honored to introduce my boss, Dr. Manoj Pardasani, Hunter College Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs. He's served as the Associate Provost and a dedicated member of the Silberman School of Social Work faculty. He's been the Dean of the School of Social Work at Adelphi and Associate Dean at Fordham Graduate School of Social Service. He's been a visiting professor in China, Germany, Chile, and the UK, and has shared his social welfare research all across the globe. A winner of numerous awards, including the Fulbright Specialist Award, we're so lucky here at Hunter College to call this education champion our own. Manoj, please join me on stage to say a few words.
Good evening. I'm embarrassed. I didn't know you were going to read off my bio. You didn't ask for it. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. Good evening. I need reading glasses now that I'm over 40. But it's such an honor to welcome all of you, especially our fellows, but everyone who's here this evening. I'm so proud to represent Hunter College as part of CUNY and welcome you all officially. Hunter College was founded in 1870 as a women's college for teachers. We only admitted our first male students in 1946. And since 1873, our main campus has always been located at Park Avenue, between Park Avenue and Lexington on 68th Street. But as you can see, we've expanded significantly since that humble start. We now have 5 colleges, of course, the College of Arts and Sciences, but we also have a large School of Social Work that's here at the Silberman campus. We also have a School of Nursing and a School of Health Professions at Brookdale campus, which is downtown. We also have arts facilities in Tribeca and all over the city. So we're one of those few CUNY colleges that spread out all over Manhattan. We have about 18,000 undergraduate students and 5,000 graduate students. And our motto is Mihi Cura Futuri. We teach for the future, and that we take our mission really seriously. We want to prepare the leaders of tomorrow and those that make transformative advances in whatever field they choose. Since the time of the inaugural Hunter College New York City Food Policy Center, 40 under 40 in 2016. We have honored 320 individuals representing elected officials, not-for-profit staffers, food and agricultural entrepreneurs, journalists, academics, nutritionists, and community partners, all striving to make a difference in New York City. Truly, you also are living the mission of Hunter College, so we're so grateful to all of you. It's so amazing to see 7 cohorts. Is it 7 now or 6 cohorts? And I'm jealous that I can't be in the 40 under 40 category, but I'm hoping at some point you might have 40 over 40 category. And some of you that were 40 under 40 may have crossed the threshold, but you're always going to be 40 under 40. Anyway, many of the members of the cohorts represented here this evening have played important roles in keeping New York City nourished, particularly in challenging times. I mean, who would have thought a few years ago that we would have gone through a worldwide pandemic and what that did to New Yorkers everywhere, of all ages, all backgrounds, all classes, all socio-cultural backgrounds, all economic levels. And truly, nutrition and food was one of the critical parts of making sure that New Yorkers stayed healthy and safe. My own background is working with older adults, and again, the same concern for older adults so that they receive adequate nutrition, so that and we know the impact that it has not just on physical health, but emotional and mental health. So thank you for all the work that you continue to do. The Hunter College New York City Food Policy Center also worked tirelessly on getting information about resources out to those needing food access, and more during the pandemic, particularly with the online Neighborhood Food Resources Guide for all the 59 community districts throughout the 5 boroughs. These guides are kept current and updated each semester by our dedicated nutrition grad students who work as interns at the Food Policy Institute, and some of them are here today. Can you raise your hand, fabulous graduate students? Or they're outside working. They're hard at work. We keep them working. One of the members of the class of 2018, John Chin of Share Meals and Smart Pantry, has been a longtime collaborator with the New York City Food Policy Center and also with the Neighborhood Food Resource Guides. John, are you in here? He's hard at working outside as well, but you're going to see him in a few minutes. And tonight you'll get to see a new project in action outside the auditorium in the lounge area. We're so excited to see this prototype, a new way to address food insecurity. The Hunter College New York City Food Policy Center is seen as a hub for smart thinkers and impressive doers in this space. And we're so honored to host the first of what we hope will be many gatherings that offer opportunities for future networking and collaborations. A little bit about the Smart Pantry Project. The Smart Pantry Project is a collaboration between the Hunter College Food Policy Center and the nationally renowned nonprofit Share Meals. It is the result of 6 years of research and development, including interviews with major stakeholders in college food pantries, directors, workers, community partners, students who use them. We even talked with college administrators who tried to start a food pantry and could not. The SB, a small upgrade to a standard vending machine that turns it into a fully automated food pantry. What an ATM is to a bank, the SB is to a food pantry. They solve the major points that we have heard and continue to hear from college food pantry staff across the U.S. They don't have enough space, they don't have enough staffing, students feel stigmatized to the point of not getting help even when they need it, and I've witnessed that personally. We have a food pantry at 68th Street, and one of the fears that many students have is who else is seeing them walk into the pantry. So the stigma of seeking help, and this definitely addresses that in a respectful way and in an inclusive way. Not enough opening hours to accommodate students with different schedules. And there is no data on who uses it and how they benefit from it, and that will be helpful with this machine. The Esprit addresses all of these in an easy plug-and-play way. The food being stocked is healthy and approved by our nutrition graduate students. We're testing with specialty vending machines, such as refrigerated ones, that will allow us to distribute fresh produce as well. The SB is a revolutionary part of the solution to achieving a hunger-free campus at Hunter and hopefully across the country. So kudos to Smart Pantry, but also to the Food Policy Institute. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the director, the executive director, Annette Nielsen, and her fabulous team for all the amazing work that you do and continue to do. So thank you for transforming lives, for transforming communities, and for carrying on the Hunter mission and also the mission for the Food Policy Center. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Manoj, for those kind words. And so now, as we are in the midst of the UN Conference of the Parties, or COP28, right, we anticipate the opportunity to hear more about some innovative initiatives. And I don't know if you guys have been following the news the past 24 hours or so, but Al Gore has come out with a globally focused climate trace, a technology for independent greenhouse emissions tracking. But anyway, all of this brings our attention to climate front and center, and we all know the importance of it. Our keynote for this evening, Elijah Hutchinson, is relatively new to his current position. I think he just hit 2 months, is that right? And however, he's very well known in climate and environmental circles. He served as the VP for Waterfronts with an NYC, Economic Development Corporation, working on coastal resilience and greenway initiatives, where he also secured a lot of federal funding for the citywide Greenway Master Plan. As Executive Director of the New York City Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice, he's leading a really talented team with an ambitious climate agenda. He's addressing clean energy, transportation, flooding, extreme heat, waterways, and green space. Thanks for taking the time to join us, Elijah.
Hi everybody. I'm not at COP28. I didn't fly there. I'm here with you all. Better for the environment. And I am also 39 3/4. So, did I make it? I don't know. I am the executive director for the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice, and I always like to spend a little bit of a moment just to say what that is. I like to say that we're the office that strives to make New York City greener, greener, cleaner, and safer from the threats of climate change, and that's for all New Yorkers. And that for all New Yorkers is a really important part because that's where we get into what does just mean when we talk about environmental justice. So the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice, or MOCEJ, was created just within this administration by Mayor Adams, and it's the combination of several different climate offices. There used to be an Office of Sustainability and an Office of Resilience and Environmental Coordination, Environmental Remediation, and now we're bringing that all under one umbrella with climate and environmental justice at its core, which is really where it belongs. And for the first time, that includes the Mayor's Office of Urban Agriculture, which is in its inaugural year and just released its first report for urban agriculture that got released last month, so kudos to that team. I have been at my job for about 10 weeks now. My first week was the post-Ophelia rainstorm, which really shows you how much work there is that we need to do, not just within government, but with our communities and where we live. I think we were all impacted by that in New York City, whether you were trying to go to school or come home from work or make sure that your home and your property was safe. I have seen within the last 10 weeks the release of the city's first long-term energy plan. We've also announced that all rideshare vehicles in New York City by 2030 will be handicap accessible or EV cars. We also walked the flooded areas of East New York after that Ophelia storm with Mayor Adams to point out the lack of infrastructure and assistance needed to really build up that community. And we've also done some ribbon cuttings for blue belts, man-made lakes, human-made lakes in Staten Island, where we're designing essentially places where places can flood and where we can work with water and work with nature to make sure we can mitigate these impacts of climate change. For me, environmental justice is personal. I grew up in North Brooklyn, which is a waterfront neighborhood when at the time had no waterfront access. And I live next to the Newtown Creek wastewater treatment plant, which was smelly, had a lot of transportation and air quality and other impacts. And to see it evolve over time into a place that has an educational center, that has waterfront access, that is more efficient, uses renewable energy, is exactly the kind of investments and infrastructure that all of our communities need across the city. Though I don't have time to talk about everything that we're working on within the office, even within this community in East Harlem, there are a lot of other initiatives that we have to try and focus on climate and environmental justice and start to define with community members what does that mean. And in every community across New York, we found that it's really important for us to focus on what does resilience mean to you? What does environmental justice mean to you? And when we start to get at those questions, we start to understand that it's not just these titles or these categories, but it's about food, it's about transportation, it's about housing, it's about access to resources and education and public safety. And so from that end, it's really exciting to see all of these offices come together and be able to connect these really important dots with one another in order to fulfill what are the most ambitious climate targets that we have for the United States. New York City does. We have the most ambitious climate targets in the country. One of that process that we're working with Harlem is called Climate Strong Communities. And what we're doing there is having community conversations now so that we can scope those projects and line them up for much needed state and federal resources, which is different than how we've gone about projects in the past, which was there's a disaster, there's some pool of federal funding, and then the communities that get hit by that specific disaster get some money for that specific hazard. And we know that that model doesn't work anymore. We know that there are a lot of multi-hazard conditions that our communities are experiencing, and they need solutions that speak to the complexity of the challenges that we're facing. So it's really great to be here talking about food as one piece of that story, but there are so many pieces that fit into that. So as we start to chart a course in the future, looking at New York City in 2050 and 2100 with all of these climate hazards overlaid with one another, what is the future of that city, and what are we doing today to make sure we're making the right decisions? Mayor Adams last year opened the first office of the urban agriculture, which is within the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice, which is directed by Kiana, who many of you know and love. She leads the city's efforts to increase food access and production of locally grown fresh fruit, spur economic activity through agriculture, and minimize our contributions to the climate crisis. Casey's also on our team. But we also have others, including Rachel and others in the mayor's office, who work on these issues across food policy and urban agriculture. And tackling climate change is serious. In order to do that, we have to look at our food systems. We can't get to our goals, which is a completely carbon neutral economy by 2050, without addressing food. Any city tackling this challenge seriously must look at food systems. Just to give you a sense of what some of these intersections are that we think about all the time. Community gardens divert an estimated 165 million gallons of stormwater from our city's streets and sewer infrastructure every year. Green spaces alleviate urban heat island effect by reducing outdoor air temperature. Heat is our biggest killer in New York City, and then particularly affects communities of color and the elderly population over 40. Activities within urban agriculture support biodiversity, they strengthen food resilience, and now more than ever, we need to make sure that our food systems are not disrupted. Gardens also offer places for healing, connection, respite, community building, and food and water have a lot in common, but are both challenged by climate change. So as we adapt to this future, we have the opportunity to build and design much better systems. School gardens strengthen our communities, and they foster connections and advance well-being. And all of those things go together to also help address issues that are longstanding in these communities, including jobs and access to fresh food, and building community and social resilience. So MOCEJ doesn't only look to gardens in terms of their ability to mitigate impacts, but we also look at food choices and their ability to impact emissions. Like Mayor Adams said, we need to talk about beef. food, we know that there are certain big companies that are contributing tons towards our greenhouse gas emissions. At the same time, food and diet is often a personal choice if you have that option. And so I'm really excited for anybody who's increasing access and increasing choice to people who may not have the choice to lead a more plant-based or low-carbon diet, or even know what that might even mean. New York City releases a greenhouse gas inventory every year for the past 17 years. We're the largest city to do so, with the longest running inventory for any large-scale city. That's really exciting because this past year, for the first time, we released a consumption-based emissions inventory, which accounts for emissions that are generated with the production of goods and services both inside and outside of New York City. So we took that new approach and integrated it within our citywide greenhouse gas inventory, and found that food is the third largest contribution of emissions after buildings and transportation, which also just tells us that New Yorkers are generally great, efficient people when food is our number 3. So it's really good. We're already outside of cars, we already live pretty efficiently, but that's still not enough, and that we need to also address food, which is a huge emitter. Most of us don't drive, and most of us don't take up a lot of space. So it's great that New York is focused on particularly on food, where we have the biggest potential to address as a percentage of share of the emissions we're generating by focusing on our food industry. We are also understanding the importance of food to emissions. In our climate plan that we released this past April, called Plan YC, we announced an initiative with the Mayor's Office of Food Policy to reduce our absolute carbon emissions from food purchases across city agencies by 1/3 by 2030. So that's all really great news. I am really excited that we are here today, and that there's also a partnership between the universities and Hunter and you all as advocates and people who touch your communities and your institutions, because this is something that, as I've seen in the first 2 months, really is an all-hands-on-deck approach. This is an imminent and urgent crisis, so the more people that we have that are all working towards a common goal, the better off we all are. So I really am happy to be here, and thank you all for just being great food advocates for our communities.
Thanks so much for your thoughtful insights, and before we head out to do more networking, I want to let everyone know we are going to do a group photo. We have to do a composite picture, right? So don't leave to go after I wrap up, but please note we're all going to be coming to the stage. We want to acknowledge the generosity of so many who contributed to this important evening, like our Provost and colleagues throughout Hunter College, particularly the stellar facilities, security, and AV teams on campus. They really go above and beyond every day. The Hunter College New York City Food Policy staff, Sycamore May and Anna Speck, this would not have happened without you at all. I know that, and thank you. Our NYU, John Jay, and in particular our Hunter College interns and their community nutrition rotation with us this semester. We're grateful for Sam, Vilma, and Sammy. And then special shout out to Gila Schwartzchild. She runs the food lab, our kitchen downstairs in the basement, and she has been so generous. She's also a 40 under 40, but she has been so generous in allowing us access at all hours of every day. In terms of food and beverage, Liz Newmark, with great performances, is someone who's contributed generously to this space for decades and has been a longtime supporter of our center's work. Bella Caracas with eTerra Kitchen for the incredible desserts and her shared use incubator kitchen that's just right across the street here in East Harlem. If you haven't visited, go check it out. Lots of food entrepreneurs happening there. Anna Hammond with Matriarch. So given it's Climate Week and all of that, and we have Elijah here, check out Anna Hammond's upcycled product that's good for people and the planet. She'll be doing samples out there. And there also is going to be a shelf-stable version of her vegetable stew in John Chin's shared meals out there, the prototype that you're going to see. The teams at Blue Triton, Saratoga Water, Curious Elixir, and Spare Tonic, we love your products and thanks for your continued support. I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my husband, Dan Garfinkel. He made latkes all day today, both a vegan and a regular version, and I think you'll find them really delicious. He's a rock star. And then John Chin with Shared Meals in the Smart Pantry. Check out the prototype. It's really, really fun too and exciting. If you're not already a subscriber, sign up for our weekly newsletter, nycfoodpolicy.org. You'll find original content as well as our aggregation by topic area on a whole bunch of areas. I mean, food, ag, climate, including academic reports and studies. Please note too, we're having an upcoming urban agriculture panel as part of our Food Policy for Breakfast series relaunching in person on January 10th here on the second floor. We'll have urban ag leaders representing federal, state, and local entities. And from New York City, we'll have Kiana Mickey as part of that panel. And then, so in gathering you all here tonight, we're hopeful this is the start of something that leads to more partnerships, brainstorming sessions, and just, bringing together the smart ideas that all of you can do around a table. And to facilitate more of that, we're starting a new newsletter focused on you guys. We'll be reaching out before the end of the year. You'll be hearing from Sycamore May. She'll be leading this project. She'll be in touch with all of the cohorts with further details on the structure and the guidelines. So we're incredibly honored to host all of you this evening. And we all know it's important to collaborate in this space to make the most out of our precious resources of time, financial resources too, and most important, the people here in the room. Thank you. Annie is going to be directing the no, we've got to put on. No. But you can be
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, that's always
Yes.
That's why she was like sat next to each other
I'll take yours.
It's like you gotta set it like on the train or something. Can I set the timer? But
We're okay.
You guys look so great.
Wait, we have a few people up in the back that need to move forward.
Can everybody see Annie?
Yeah, can everyone see me? I feel like there's some people in the back over there that maybe you can make your way
You can push that sign back.
not to call you out.
Do you want me to push that sign back so they can move forward?
Actually, that might be a good idea.
Let's push that sign behind you back, and so more people can move in front.
Yeah.
Is that all right? It's all right. No.
Alright, you can take a bunch of photos, so just keep smiling.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
tell us which one to look at.
Just look at her. She's got the better camera. I'm doing, social media photos.
And now a funny one, a goofy one?
Make a face.
Anyone?